Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Cricketwala Chronicles with Ayaz Memon.
Hi, this is Pooja from the Fan Garage and you're listening to the Cricketwala Chronicles with Ayaz.
Hi Pooja, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you Ayaz. Seeing the sun after a few days right here in Mumbai.
Yeah,
but of course,
this is delightful season for me.
Yes.
You know, I love to get wet and I like to see other people getting wet.
Speaking about getting wet, I actually went in for a rain walk over the weekend. It was just stunning.
Fantastic.
But of course, here we are talking about cricket, our favorite topic always.
Yes.
And exciting times in the world of cricket and T20 especially with, Rome sort of making an open declaration saying that if they win the bid for the 2024 games, they're going to have cricket as part of it.
Yes, I think it's a very positive statement coming from Italy if they get the Olympics into 2024. Look, we've now moved into the Olympic season, so to speak.
Yes.
The games are on us. Maybe in another 3-4 weeks, the Olympics
will
rule our consciousness.
Rio is going to take
Rio
over.
is going to take over. And I think that cricket needs to be in the Olympics if it needs to be, or it wants to be recognized as a major sport. Not that it isn't, but it's been functioning in a silo. It's not part of the, what should I say, the global scheme of things where sports is concerned. And I don't see why not, because there have been attempts made in the past. And as we've discussed often offline, that in the first Olympics in 1900, cricket was part of the Olympics.
Absolutely, yeah.
Though there was only England and France which played.
Yeah, there were two other European teams, but they pulled out. Yeah.
But then, after the formation of the Imperial Cricket Council, cricket kind of detached itself from the Olympic movement, and there were reasons for it, because there was only Test cricket played around those days or those years till the early 60s when ODI cricket came into being.
Yeah.
But not the World Cup in 75, but before that the one-day cricket came in England and elsewhere.
Yeah.
In the Olympic movement, where you got the entire Olympics held over 2 weeks or 15 days, you can't accommodate cricket matches which are going to run over 4 days or 5 days.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they necessarily had to kind of stay away.
Yeah.
But ever since ODI cricket came in and actually became immensely popular, there have been sporadic moves to get cricket back into the Olympic fold.
Right.
And these moves have come from cricket boards like Australia, supported by England, sometimes by South Africa after their return into international cricket, New Zealand, but surprisingly not India.
Yeah.
Which I think has been a bit of a shame, because I think India should have ever since it became the major power in the sport.
Right.
So I've covered cricket in the Commonwealth Games.
Yes.
In 1998 in Kuala Lumpur when the games were held there.
Yes.
And the tournament I think won by South Africa. Mm-hmm. And India were knocked out pretty early despite Sachin Tendulkar also playing in the Commonwealth Games. But it was a mishmash team. There was Tendulkar, there was Ajay Jadeja, but half the team was in Canada playing a series against Pakistan.
Yes.
One-day series.
Yeah.
The commitment that should have been shown to getting cricket into the Olympic movement was not strong enough, I think, in the BCCI. And has not been strong enough even since then. It's been 2 decades. So I fail to understand why. I perhaps have some explanations why, but I don't think these are strong enough reasons. Do you want me to tell you why I think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm curious to know why cricket has never been an Olympic sport and why BCCI would absolutely resist a move like that.
So the BCCI has always been an independent body. It's been independent of the sports ministry. It's been independent of the government of India. It's been independent of the IOA, the Indian Olympic Association. In 1998, when it participated in the Commonwealth Games, it went through the IOA.
Yes.
The IOA requested the BCCI, please send a team, and after much,
back
toing and throwing back
and
and forth, they finally sent a half-baked team. And Tendulkar was the big draw, so that was a great thing, because remember, 1998, he was at the peak of his prowess.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there has been this lurking fear that we might get usurped by the government or by the IOA, and therefore also the sports ministry and the government of India, which has held them back. There is some merit in it, because the relationship between the Cricket Board of India and the Government of India has not necessarily always been very good.
Right.
For instance, all tours earlier, because of the foreign exchange control, had to be cleared by the Government of India. That was the extent of the interface with the Government of India. Now, by and large, I mean, you do need a Ministry of External Affairs clearance for every tour.
Absolutely,
when a team travels.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to Pakistan,
Yeah.
Indo-Pak tours are subject to how the government decides, not how the board decides.
And the political mood and
the
environment
political
of the
mood
day.
and
Yeah.
environment and so on and so forth.
Right.
The BCCI has always been wary of a complete takeover, and especially after it became a massive cash cow.
Yes.
When it's become so big and
Yeah,
so
it's an
rich.
absolute behemoth, isn't it?
It's a behemoth.
Yeah.
And therefore it wants to retain its independence.
Yes.
Not that the cricket boards in Australia come under government control or England. In Pakistan they do.
Yes.
In Bangladesh they do.
Right.
In Sri Lanka they do. The cricket boards there work in
Under the-
consonance
yes.
under the government.
Yes.
But not in the West Indies, for instance, which is made up of so many different countries, and the board is independent of all of these countries, except, when the voting and stuff happens.
Yeah.
India has been independent. The BCCI wants to retain its independence, but I think that by agreeing and allying itself with the ICC and making sure that you're in a position of strength, I don't think that the IOA can impose things on you or the sports ministry as long as you are willing to make your position clear.
Absolutely. I
You
mean,
know?
one would have thought so.
So
yeah.
I think that India have been lax. Ultimately, this is the acme of sports of a sports event, the Olympics. There's nothing bigger than that.
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, I mean, just to look at other sports and how, athletes world over have seen in tennis.
Absolutely.
Until a few years ago, none of the big stars used to play
1988.
in the Olympics. But
1988
now it
is when they came, and I was there at Seoul.
Yeah.
When Steffi Graf won the gold,
Yes.
and there was Chris Evert and so and so. And believe me, most of them did not stay in the Olympic Village. They
Yeah.
stayed in there because they were professionals who came in as with a 2-week or 3-week window to be amateurs for that
Right.
period of time.
Yes.
And therefore not play for money, but play for glory.
Correct.
But they preferred, because they were so rich, they
Yes.
could afford to stay outside. And they
Right.
stayed there because they wanted to train on their own and be on their own and stuff like that.
And not get hounded by fans, perhaps.
Not get
yeah.
hounded by fans. But now the Olympic movement itself is not as stringent as it used to be. So you've had the All-Stars, the great basketball team of
Yeah.
the US, which came in 1992.
Yes.
With all the big stars. And they also didn't stay in the Olympic Village.
Right.
They stayed outside of the Olympic Village.
Yeah.
So there has been a bit of flexibility where the IOC is concerned. They allow the big marquee
Well, that
names to
said,
stay
but
outside.
the point I was trying to make is that the Olympics has become the pinnacle of sporting achievement.
Always has been.
Yes, but more
Always
so
has
now
been.
because you see all of these big players and big names wanting to get that gold.
People like, say, Stephen Waugh, Adam Gilchrist,
Yeah.
they've been advocating that cricket should be part of the Olympic movement.
Right.
Let us lobby with the IOC. Let us get cricket in as a demo sport
Yes.
and then therefore as a regular sport.
Yeah.
And, that was when we didn't have T20. There
Yes.
were only ODIs.
Yes.
But somehow there was not enough incentive or,
Impetus. Yes.
or not enough interest shown by the BCCI. And if the BCCI does not show interest, then actually it takes away a very sizable segment, not just of the playing community, but also the viewing community.
Correct.
So cricket to be played at the Olympics, if you don't have Indians viewing it,
Right.
if there's no Indian team participating,
Yeah.
it would
It's
be
a washout.
It's
It's a
washout.
non-starter,
dampener.
frankly, yeah.
So that's been, I think, the fundamental reason why the non-agreement or the ICC's inability to convince the BCCI
Yeah.
that we should participate in the Olympics. And remember, we've had 3 presidents of the ICC who've been from India.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's been Jagmohan Dalmia earlier.
Yeah.
There was Sharad Pawar.
Sharad Pawar and now Shashank Manohar.
Shashank Manohar.
Yes.
So, I mean, at any point in time, they could have shown the initiative. In fact, Jagmohan Dalmia was anti, because he felt that if the power of the BCCI would be usurped,
Yeah.
either by the government of India, the IOA or the sports ministry, or by the ICC, which will lobby with the IOC, not BCCI.
Right.
So BCCI, once it got into a position of strength
Yes.
and domination of the sport, has been, kind of reluctant to see the Olympics as a step forward, not a step backward. I think that's been the issue.
Right, but given the sweeping changes that are sort of taking place in the BCCI and with cricket in India, thanks to the Lodha Committee report, and do you think this could be yet another step in sort of bringing in transparency into the game? BCCI sort of accepting the.
Pooja, I don't think the Lodha Committee has anything to do with the Olympics.
Sure, but they want administrative transparency.
Correct. So that's fine.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean necessarily you still have to play Olympics.
Sure.
I think the biggest boon for the Olympics or getting into the Olympics for cricket has been the arrival of T20 cricket.
Absolutely. I mean, clearly T20 could be the change agent.
T20 cricket can accommodate 16 teams even now.
Yes.
If you take the associate members, you get Ireland, Afghanistan and so on, which even in ODIs you couldn't.
Absolutely.
Earlier. Now you do.
Now you can, yeah.
But you can at any point in time have 16 teams. The ICC is also expanding its horizons by taking cricket through the T20 format to other countries. Like you mentioned, Rome, Italy would want to play.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, they've just inducted Saudi Arabia as
there's Japan,
the latest
they're
associate
pushing
member.
It in China.
Yes.
So they're expanding their horizons. If you have 25, 30 teams which are ready for T20 cricket, then automatically you have a very throbbing event at the Olympics.
Absolutely, yeah. And, given the nature of the game, on a good day, any team can win, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's, in a sense, it's easier to acquire those skills. It's not as we've talked earlier, it's not highly nuanced like Test cricket could
Correct.
be. It's not as time consuming.
Yeah.
It's not so complex in viewership. It is not so time consuming that it's going to take up an entire day.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you've got even 12 teams, how do you finish
How
a
do you
tournament
finish it in
2
the
weeks?
schedule? Yeah.
You can't. But T20, you can have 4 matches on a day.
Right.
But you need the infra, obviously.
Of course, yes.
But you can have 4 matches in a day and finish an event in 12, 14 days.
Correct.
Which is what the Olympic span is of the event. So I think this is the biggest boost that has happened. But somebody has to take the agenda forward.
Right.
That's the issue.
Yes.
Who's going to take the agenda forward? The ICC is trying to. There are players who are interested and some really marquee, big names.
I would think so, yeah. I mean,
especially the Australians. I think that's, really commendable. That's also because the Olympic movement is very strong in Australia.
Yes. And in most of the other sporting nations.
All the other sporting nations.
Yeah.
Even in England.
Yes.
They would be happy to see cricket as part of the fold. But they don't want cricket to be usurped.
Yeah.
Which is frankly, I don't see any reason for that fear to exist beyond a point. It's then how you negotiate, how you lobby, obviously there is a political dimension to it vis-a-vis the IOC and the ICC, but it's not something that can't be resolved.
Yes.
It's been resolved for other sports like hockey and football and tennis and in football, you got the under-23 teams that play, and people like Messi have played.
Yes.
And won the gold medal.
And even with
23.
with other sports. I mean, recently we've seen rugby getting included. This year's edition is going to have golf being included.
Correct.
So clearly, all sports wanting to be included in the Olympic movement for the glory that it affords the sport and the players.
And look at it from the player's point of view. That if you are playing a sport and it's running parallel to something which is a global arena, then you sometimes ask yourself, or often ask yourself, why am I not in that arena? Why is it that a football tournament can be played in the Olympics, the hockey tournament, rugby can be played, even golf they've introduced as a demo sport.
Yeah.
But why not cricket?
Yes.
If you're a youngster, and now we are living in a globalized world.
Yes, and you'd want cricket to be a global sport, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll take a quick short break over here, Ayaz, and come back to discuss everything and more about T20 being the change agent for cricket globally.
Who's ahead in the league and what's cooking off the pitch? We at TFG bring all that you need to know about Indian football. Discussions, debate, banter, in-depth analysis with a touch of fun and fandom. This is the TFG Indian Football Podcast, and we're a daily show, so check us out on YouTube and various other podcasting apps like iTunes, Audioboom, SoundCloud, etc.
Hi, this is Pooja, and you're listening back to the Cricket Baller Chronicles with Ayaz. Of course, as we're discussing our, cricket's ticket on the global stage.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, so
a bit, to put it lightly. But no, clearly, I mean, the BCCI on its part has, of course, been making some efforts in trying to make cricket popular. I mean, we've heard recently talks about a mini IPL, and in the recent past, we've also seen a sort of T20 league being staged in the USA, which was unthinkable until a few years ago. So clearly there is a wanting need and there is efforts being made, but somewhere
not enough. Not enough, Pooja. You're right. So there is some kind of, winds of change happening.
Yes.
But they're not. It's not. It's not a storm.
Correct.
It's not a tornado.
Well, some
of
start
change.
has been made.
Correct.
Let's
So
put it. Yeah.
maybe fresh thinking, fresh perspectives
Yeah.
coming into the ICC essentially first, and
Yes.
then spreading from there into the cricket boards. I see some healthy signs. One is that more and more players are asking that we should be in the Olympics. Players from Australia, players from England, players from South Africa. So, for instance, just to give you an idea, that Chris Gayle is buddy or chuddy buddy with Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
They are both from Jamaica.
Correct.
They're thick friends. Usain Bolt actually wanted to be a cricketer.
Yes.
So did Johan Blake.
Correct.
And they were both fast bowlers, and Blake always jokes in the 2012 Olympics when we had a press conference, and Blake was beaten to the gold by Gayle.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon,
by
by Bolt.
Yeah.
But he said, I can bowl quicker than him. He runs faster than he bowls.
Yeah.
So there is a strong cricket culture in Jamaica,
Yes.
as well as a strong Olympic culture, at least where athletics is
Track and
concerned,
field
and
is-
track
yeah.
and field and
Yeah.
sprint certainly.
Correct.
And the aspirants there, therefore, you'll find that there's a commonality. Bolt would want to be a cricketer as well as as an Olympic athlete.
Sure.
And Gayle would have, I would imagine, in his younger days, now that he's all stiff and he only hit sixes and he can't even run singles. But at some stage he must have fancied himself as an athlete, because that is the culture.
Yeah.
That kind of thought process is now spreading across even the cricketing world.
Yes.
So Indians, for instance, are becoming or fancying their prospects and chances even in the Olympics. Not necessarily cricketers,
Yeah.
but more and more Indian sports persons.
Yes.
Whether you're a shooter or a boxer or a wrestler
Or a
badminton
badminton player, yeah.
or a tennis player, or,
Correct.
you had 6 medals in the last Olympics. If it becomes bigger than that, more
Sure.
than that.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you're a young cricketer, if you're 14, 15, you might be playing other sports also.
Yeah.
And you'll ask yourself, why am I not in the Olympics? I think that feeling is growing. Off the record, a lot of current Indian cricketers will tell you, we could be there.
Yes.
They may not say it openly.
Sure.
Because
You don't want to be seen as.
no,
going
also it's now you're well settled.
Yeah.
And this is a big sport as far as Indian cricketers are concerned. There's nothing bigger than that. It's it's a mega sport
Yes.
in India.
Yeah.
But I think that if the BCCI looks ahead, has a certain vision beyond just saying that we can play with 7-8 countries and we're happy to be number one in the ICC rankings in all 3 formats, they might find that actually winning a gold medal at the Olympics has perhaps greater value in terms of national pride.
Yes.
In creating that sense of, not just even for the fans who follow you. Suppose India wins the World Cup, it's a mighty event.
Sure.
But if India wins
The Olympic gold in cricket. Yeah.
I would think it's a mightier event.
Sure.
That's my way of looking at it.
So would there somewhere be a sort of a fear lurking in the eyes of the ICC that, it could belittle their World Cups?
Yes, it would take away some of the luster
Sure.
from the World Cup which exists. But look, that's only a fear. So let me give you a parallel. You got Grand Slam tournaments.
Yes.
The Grand Slam tournaments haven't lost their luster because every 4 years there's the Olympics where somebody is going to win the Olympics medal.
Sure.
I mean, at Rio, it could be Djokovic or Federer or Murray or XYZ, anybody who
Yes.
wins. But it doesn't mean
It
that
doesn't take away
whatever
from-
they won at
Yeah.
Wimbledon or the French Open or Aussie Open or US Open it's not lost its luster. It's just added to it.
Yeah, absolutely,
The Olympic
yeah.
gold becomes like,
The
scaling.
Gold Slam it's
yeah,
called.
It's
isn't
called the
it?
Gold Slam.
Yeah.
Incidentally, who finished the Gold Slam? Steffi Graf,
Right.
1988.
Yes. Yes.
So
of
anyway,
course.
I think that this is something that cricket can aspire to, and they should. And I think that the T20 format, which we've kind of discussed threadbare over the past 12 weeks,
Yeah.
is actually the best way to take it to the Olympics.
Yes.
So it does not erode your test culture at all. It's very distinct from test cricket.
That's true,
In
yeah.
fact, even distinct from ODI cricket. You can call it slam bang stuff and,
Rock and roll
rock
cricket.
and roll cricket and whatever else.
Yeah.
But it's brief, so therefore it can be accommodated into the Olympic calendar.
That's
It's
right.
exciting to watch. That means more people will watch it, even those who are not cricketing nations, and that's the advantage.
Yeah, it's easy to understand from a spectator point of view. It brings in newer audiences.
Newer audiences.
Yeah, you don't
Absolutely.
need to know the finer nuances of shot making and bowl deliveries and different kinds of.
So let me, for instance, judo and karate
Yeah.
are not easy to understand in the points how they are given.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, or for that matter, wrestling.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, boxing. And yet there are 100 countries that participate.
Absolutely.
So cricket, the T20 format, it may be now limited. You may have to start with as a demo sport, maybe 12 countries, like you have in your T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
It can grow to 16. Then you get a full-fledged membership into the IOC, and therefore you play as a, it's a full-fledged sport.
Yeah.
And I would imagine there is scope for it to go up to 20, 24 countries, which is a heck of a lot.
Well, and as we've seen with the associate countries like Netherlands, Canada, they're all good teams on their day.
And even for qualification to the Olympics, you can have a knockout system. The
Yeah.
ICC can. Suppose you got 45, 50 countries that are playing in 10 years' time.
Yes.
Including Italy and so on. So, ICC's bench or the bag of countries becomes bigger. You can have an elimination contest and have 20 or 24 which participate in the Olympics.
Right.
It can be done.
Yeah.
But what is important is to get a start. And I think look at the Olympic, and I think there's also a link to viewership. The Olympics are very keen, the IOC, to pull in as much of Indian audiences as possible.
Sure, it's a
Because that's
sizable
also-
population for them.
Is 1/6 of the world.
Yes, absolutely.
And therefore, it also succors the Olympic movement.
Yeah.
And for India, I think now that we've tasted the thrill and the excitement and the pride of having medals or
Right.
medal winners,
Yes.
we want more. That's
Right.
how it comes. When Abhinav Bindra won the first ever individual gold medal for India in 2008,
Yes.
there was euphoria in the country.
Sure.
We didn't win a gold in 2012, but we got 6 medals. So there is this feeling, we can win
We
medals.
can do
It's
it.
not an
All of a
aberration.
sudden, there's a sense of self-belief.
Self-belief.
Yeah.
And therefore, I would imagine that you have a better than good chance of winning a medal at the Olympics, maybe not a gold, whatever the color of the medal, in cricket.
Yeah.
That's where your team is currently ranked, or the team is currently ranked number 2.
Yeah.
Even in T20. So I think that the BCCI needs to look at the whole thing holistically rather than, cling on to the thing that you're not seceding, you're not breaking away.
Yeah.
You're not
or giving up
away.
control.
You're not
yeah.
giving up control.
Correct.
You're just adding actually one more dimension
Yes.
to the sport and to your own prowess. Because if your team is doing well and it goes and does well at the Olympics, it just makes, cricket better and Indians more proud.
Yeah. Well, that said, they are clearly trying to tap into the Indian diaspora in foreign markets. We've seen, we've heard talks of a mini IPL, sort of in the works. So clearly it's all about getting a window in the calendar. And if you have that window, you don't want to give it up. And, the BCCI has the Champions League window, an event which doesn't happen anymore.
Yes.
And that's when the talks to hold a mini IPL, perhaps in the US, perhaps in the UAE.
I think you're right. Look, there is one of the things that has been said earlier by the ICC and by the BCCI is that our itinerary is packed.
Right.
So English summer is there. The Australians play in their summer, which coincides with our winter.
Sure.
The West Indies usually play in our monsoon.
Yes.
And Sri Lanka.
Right.
So where is the window when the Olympics come?
Right.
It'll be bang in the middle of the English summer.
Right.
Usually the summer games are
In the
July,
summer,
August,
yes.
July, August, and
Yeah.
therefore England might object.
Right.
It could be, but I think a 2-week window can be found. So I'll tell you how it's been done for the IPL.
Right.
The IPL, first couple of years, didn't have any English players, or 7-8 years, didn't have English players except those who were vagabond players or renegade players.
Correct.
In their own way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Or they worked out a deal with their respective counties that we will not play in the month of April, we'll join you in the month of May, and if the county agreed, that was fine.
Right.
Now, the counties have actually, English cricket has pushed the season a little bit to accommodate to their players to play in the IPL as much as possible, because they've realized otherwise they might have a revolt on their hands.
Yes.
So I'm saying these kind of negotiations are possible. Windows can be found. Ultimately,
And eventually that's what all other cricketing boards have done. Everyone's managed to squeeze in some window.
Correct.
And therefore the Ram Slam and the Caribbean Premier League and
correct.
the Big Bash.
Absolutely. So I think it's a bit of give and take which needs to be worked out. And if the way to look at it is, what do you think is the pinnacle of all sports tournaments? If you see it, that it's the Olympics,
Yeah.
then everything works accordingly, because you can then position your tournaments accordingly.
Right.
If you feel that, my tournament, even if it's the Asia Cup, is bigger than the Olympics, then obviously there's going to be a tug of war and it may not be resolved.
Right.
So I think that's really the issue. I think they have to get enlightened enough to see that the Olympics makes a big difference. It is a big deal. And more, it's not just about India. India's a billion plus, 1.2 billion.
Yeah.
If you add Pakistan, if you add Bangladesh, if you add Sri Lanka, and some of the other countries which are part of the Nepal, which is also a cricketing country in a sense.
Afghanistan.
Yeah. You're talking of 2 billion people.
Right.
Who might be interested, who are actually interested.
Who are, yes, clearly.
In seeing cricket being part of the Olympics.
Yes.
So I don't see how long the ICC or even the BCCI or any of the cricket boards can hold back. Because the IOC will also, and there'll be give and take, the IOC will also see cricket as advantages to their movement, the Olympic movement.
Yeah.
So far they were happy or indifferent, theek hai, nahi hai, Now they see that we need this audience. This is 2 billion people.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
And what is their biggest sport? It is going to be
football.
And, cricket and then the other sports.
Yes.
And the other threat for cricket is that if you're not part of the Olympics, and football is, and badminton is, and tennis is, then you're actually gradually ceding ground.
Yeah, and football is only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean,
Well, football has put its own restrictions. They don't allow 23 and above age group players to go and play.
sure. But look at the number of countries and the size of some of those countries that are sort of playing.
So, Pooja, my one solution could be, as a kind of a starting point, which is whether as a demo sport or taking it ahead, maybe the next 2-3 games, let's send under 25 teams. The cricket boards can decide. You send the under 25 teams. That may include a fair number of international players.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, in the current team, you would have KL Rahul, who would be under 25, certainly.
Yes.
And some of the others.
Some of the others too, yeah.
In 2012, you would have had Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Jadeja, all of them under 25.
Right.
Yeah. So, if you allow the under 25, like in football, you have the under 23 players who are there. You actually have a fair sprinkling of international cricketers from across the globe.
From across the globe, yeah.
And therefore, there would be interest in watching them.
And it would be competitive play.
It would be very competitive.
Very competitive,
It would be very competitive. And take it from there. If it grows from there and then you send your full-fledged team, fair enough.
I think clearly lot lies in store for us, and T20,
is the only format.
Is the only format, and in that respect,
let's look at it this way, Pooja.
Change agent for cricket.
Yes,
really.
yes. Let's look at it this way. 5-day cricket you can't have.
Yeah.
1-day cricket, even the ICC is not convinced if it has a future.
Right.
So how do you push it into the Olympics? So T20, because it's in a sense a no-brainer for spectators to understand, even those which are not from cricketing countries. By the way, I even, this is something which has been like running in my mind. I don't know how the ICC can work it. But actually, the West Indies is made up of several countries.
Yeah.
And when they play in the Olympics, they participate as independent countries.
That's true. Yeah.
So Jamaican athletes are competing against Barbadian athletes and, Trinidadians.
Trinidad and Tobago, yeah.
You could have cricket teams from there. Each one a different team by itself.
Interesting thought.
So you would have maybe 4 or 5 full-fledged teams from the West Indies.
Yeah.
Only playing T20.
Yeah.
There's a team you can get from Canada, from the US, which there is enough of cricket happening there.
That's true.
Over a period, like you mentioned, Netherlands.
Yes.
There's South Africa, there's Zimbabwe, there's East
China,
Africa, there's, I'm saying those who played enough cricket. There's China and there's Japan and there's Italy. I mean, even Papua New Guinea plays cricket.
That's right.
So I'm saying that you can have actually a set of 40 teams maybe to choose from.
Right.
And then have a tournament.
Have a qualifying tournament, knockouts,
and then maybe you want to send only 16 or 20. That's your call.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to send an under 25 team. That's that's something that you have to negotiate with the IOC and take it ahead.
Sure. A lot of thinking clearly for the ICC and the BCCI and the other cricket playing nations, but T20 clearly proving to be the catalyzing agent to make cricket global.
Absolutely.
2024 games, Olympic Games, have a lot of eyes on them set already.
But it's conditional. Only Rome, if it gets, they get it.
Only
so
if
I'm
Rome
saying,
wins the bid. And,
yeah, but I'm saying the ICC and maybe BCCI and the other cricket boards can decide that we don't necessarily have to rely only on Rome to say that, if we win it, we'll have cricket.
But it was clever thinking on the part of Italy.
It's very clever thinking.
Yes.
It's very clever thinking. And maybe there are some dynamics at play there already between a cricket association in Italy and the ICC.
Sure.
Maybe ICC is pushing hard. And Dave Richardson, I know, was very keen. I don't know, he may still be, for having cricket in the Olympics. A lot of the South Africans were. As I mentioned earlier, where the Olympic culture was, seeped into everyday life.
Yeah.
they were always for participating in the Olympics. It's where in our, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, where we thought of Olympics as beyond us,
Right.
It's for some, this is once in a 4-year thing where Americans, Chinese, Europeans will excel. We have to just watch.
Yeah.
But that has changed.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most significant change that has happened, apart from the fact that you've got suddenly T20 cricket.
Well, let's see how it all goes. Clearly, if cricket is ever played in the Olympics, we have much to thank T20 for.
Absolutely.
So we'll call it a wrap on that note. And thank you very much for listening in. Signing off, Pooja from the Fan Garage.
Thanks, Pooja.
Cricket Wala Chronicles is available on iTunes, Audioboom, YouTube, the IVM Podcast app, and many other podcasting apps that you may like.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcasts galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.